close to Earhart or live south of downtown Bamberg, make sure you're getting into that safe spot and getting into the most lowest and most interior part of your home. This couplet right here definitely looks a little bit tighter than the tornado warning that we had just about an hour or so ago. So definitely take this seriously. This is right between Earhart and Lodge, and this is maybe a little bit older scan. So this is moving a little bit further north, and that's the general motion of this, is that it's going to continue north through that warned polygon. So just a heads up, anywhere in the path of this, if you live on the east side of Earhart, anywhere up towards downtown Bamberg, you're going to be in the path of this storm. This is going to continue moving your way. So just make sure you're hunkering down and staying in that lowest, most interior part of your home. We'll go back out to, let's switch over to correlation coefficient, Emily. Let's see if we can see anything on that. So correlation coefficient just going to show us if we see any type of debris signature on radar.
I see something.
There's a little something right there. So right there. So that potentially could be maybe something getting lifted up into the atmosphere that may be a different shape than all those raindrops that's around. So this isn't necessarily the clearest debris signature we could have on radar, but it is starting to get into that range to where the radar is definitely picking up on different objects into the sky. So a heads up, this is Doppler indicated at the moment, but looking at correlation coefficient, there possibly could be some debris. Since it is lining up where we're seeing that rotation, a little bit better confidence that maybe this is associated with that tornado warned cell. So just a heads up, this is on the east side of Earhart where we're looking at the worst of this storm and going to be traveling north through the area. Anything you want to add onto that, Emily?
No, just that couplet where we are seeing again between Earhart there and Lodge, just right there, right where that, yeah, you can point to it right there.
Yep.
If we jump to that correlation coefficient, it's lining up. So
there you go.
I would say that's a signature. It's not super defined, but I would call it, that's definitely a debris signature. If we kind of back it up a little bit, not
you can
showing
see how
too
it kind
much.
of peaks right there, yeah.
Yep, but that it's lining up. So I'm really thinking that could be, I don't want to say confirmed tornado, but if that's where the debris signature is and that's where it's tightening up, I mean,
right.
that's how we know that tornadoes hit the ground is based off of that debris signature. So that's the first that we've seen today, Riley.
Yeah, and these velocity signatures, you can see how that green's getting a little bit brighter, so even showing maybe some stronger winds inside of this little cell that's passing. Oh, there you go. There it went, just observed. So now that it's highlighted in white right there, observed tornado. This just came out from the Weather Service as we were talking about it. As we looked over to correlation coefficient, you could see that little bit of debris possibly. So they have switched this to an observed tornado. So make sure you're anywhere in southern Bamberg County around Earhart that you're getting to that lowest, most interior part of your home. That's where we're looking at the worst of this storm at the moment, right around the Earhart area in between Earhart and Lodge, where we're looking at that couplet. That's where we're seeing a strong wind going towards and away from the radar, just showing that there is that strong rotation going on. So it looks like there is a tornado on the ground with this cell. Now that this has been upgraded by the National Weather Service, this is going to continue moving north at a pretty decent pace, so maybe at 20, 30 miles an hour. There's downtown Earhart right there. So just on the south and east side of town is where we're potentially looking at a tornado that has touched down to the ground and causing damage across the area. So this looks like it possibly a few roads around here, but as we get further, looks like it may get into a little bit rural part of Bamberg County there. But anywhere around Earhart, I would say anywhere within about a say 5 to 10 mile radius, especially if you live on the northern or east side of town, that's where you're going to be in the path of this tornado currently moving through the area. We're switching over to correlation coefficient. This helps measure objects into the sky and sees how similar they are to one another. Wherever you're seeing this red and purplish color, that's a sign of precipitation. But this signature right here, this is lining up where we're seeing that rotation on velocity and showing that there may be some different shaped objects into the sky, whether it be maybe some leaves, tree limbs, shingles, things of that nature. That's what the radar is currently picking up on right there with this correlation coefficient, and why the Weather Service likely did switch this to an observed tag for the warned cell here. So this is just now moving out of Hampton County. Other spots in the path of this, Clear Pond, Hughes, all the way up. That looks to be, call it that highway for me. Emily, I can't see that all the way up there.
601.
601. So 601 here from Earhart to downtown Bamberg. Anywhere along this roadway, that's where we're going to see the potential for this tornado to make a close pass to you. So really anywhere inside this white polygon, that's where the tornado is going to be possible over the next 30 minutes. It is moving relatively quickly at about 20-25 miles an hour south to north. So just anywhere inside that path, you're going to be next in line for that potential tornado crossing you by. And there you go. Emily's just kind of highlighting where we have seen that debris signature. That's right on the Bamberg and Hampton County line. So it's just going to continue lifting north into that warned polygon. And once again, anywhere around Earhart, Hughes, Clear Pond, downtown Bamberg, you're not underneath this tornado warning, but you're just north of it. So if they do continue it, I would imagine you're kind of next in line for that warning right there.
Yeah, it's well, something that's interesting. I would say if you are in Bamberg, go ahead and start thinking about, like you said, Riley, go ahead and start thinking about where you need to go, because it is 12 miles south of Bamberg right now, the city of Bamberg, and it's moving north at 25 miles per hour. So if you kind of do the math there, roughly 20, 30 minutes maybe. So go ahead and start thinking, hey, if you have to leave your house maybe to go to a shelter, just kind of have that in mind, because this is a confirmed tornado bringing debris up into the atmosphere. So this is an observed tornado, something that we definitely need to take seriously there.
Yeah, and just going back to velocity, just kind of highlighting where we are looking at that couplet. So this is the latest scan that came through. You can see it's moved a little bit, and now just north of downtown Earhart, it looks to be where we're seeing that strongest possible rotation with this. And with these tropical cells, they can quickly produce a tornado, and as quick as it is producing it, it can quickly lift back up. If we zoom into this, Emily, I'm not seeing quite as impressive returns on velocity from this from what we had just a little bit ago, but switching over back to correlation coefficient, let's see if we got a new scan there.
Yeah, that's a signature.
That looks way more like a debris signature than the last scan, but it didn't really necessarily look that intense on velocity, but that definitely looks like a debris ball right there. So right between Earhart and Hughes, that's where we're looking at this tornado potentially touching down to the ground and causing damage, and it looks like it is lifting whatever is on the ground up into the atmosphere, and that's what the debris is picking up right there, and why you see that different color that is correlating where we're seeing that rotation with the storm. Let's go back to velocity, Emily. Let's just see if we can see if that lines up with anything. So,
it does, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely that little notch right there. We don't really see a strong signature as far as winds going away from the radar site. That was more visible here with that last scan right there. But right here, still looking at there is that notching going on. We have other confirmation from correlation coefficient looking at that. So may just be the way this is oriented with the radar. But nonetheless, we have an observed tornado on the ground in southern Bamberg County around Earhart to Hughes. This is heading up towards Clear Pond next. Downtown Bamberg, you're just outside of this warning polygon, but it is projected to possibly get close to you within the next 30 minutes or so. So as Emily was just mentioning, make sure you're preparing for this and watching this closely, because you could definitely be next in line with this next warning that comes out. And you can see just over the last scan here, over the last 30 minutes or so, how fast it is moving. So it's already worked its way out of Hampton County and now into southern Bamberg County. And I will say, this is the one warning we have across the area right now. I would anticipate more warnings across the area. We do have a good environment for these tornadoes to form, and every single one of our counties is underneath a tornado watch. So conditions are favorable for tornadoes to form the rest of today, and even potentially even into tonight once Helene does start to show up across the area and starts to move inland. So this is well ahead of Helene, and we're just seeing these good dynamics for these brief spin-up tornadoes to happen. We have a very moist atmosphere. We have some instability and a lot of wind shear. So this is what we like to call a high shear, low cape environment, and where we usually see these quick spin-up tornadoes happen. So it's just these storms are definitely rotating. We've been seeing a lot of them rotate on radar. It's a matter if they can tap into just enough instability to produce that tornado and drop it down to the ground. So we are seeing that happen right now. That is a debris signature between Earhart and Hughes right there off 601. So next in line past Hughes is going to be Clear Pond, then eventually getting up towards downtown Bamberg. So anywhere around Earhart, Hughes, just make sure you get into that lowest, most interior part of your home. Try to put as many walls between you and the outside of your home as possible. That's where you're going to be safest. And one thing I haven't mentioned, you're not safe in a mobile home or a modular home. And you can withstand the wind threat we're expecting from Helene, but you're not going to be able to withstand the tornado threat that we're expecting today into tonight. So if you live in a mobile home, modular home, you're worried about the tornado risk, try to find somewhere else to stay for the rest of today and potentially even into tonight. This current tornado watch stays in effect until 9 p.m. I would imagine they extend that even later into tonight. So if you live in a mobile home, modular home, make sure you have a safe place to get to quickly in case you are placed underneath the tornado warning. This latest tornado warning. They did switch it to an observe tag here just several minutes ago, and they are going to continue this through 1:30 this afternoon. So we'd still have about time check right now around 1:15, so 15 minutes left on this warning, and I'd imagine they keep it going, especially with that signature that we're looking at, Emily.
Yeah, something that's super interesting to me though is that like you had just said, that velocity was really not showing anything super impressive. Like if we back it up a few scans, like it just went through, it looked a lot tighter just a little while ago. But something that's interesting to me is I wonder if that tornado had touched down and started to get some stuff aloft, and then just the winds carrying it at this point. But granted, we can't confirm that this is an observed tornado, and so this is a current warning that we have right now and something that we do need to take seriously. But I'm kind of just curious if it had touched down just outside of the area that we're tracking right now that just still has that debris ball, so it's making us think, hey, that's over here, but it's just not super tight signature. So that's why we have several different models that we look at. I mean, we look at radar, we look at the correlation coefficient, and we look at the velocity there. Didn't know I was coming on camera, but we also look at the velocity there just to kind of see what all is going on there. So this is an observed tornado. Again, this is moving closer to the city of Bamberg. This is between Hughes and Earhart right now. So this is what we're dealing with at the moment. And this is tracking north at about 25 miles per hour. It's about 12 miles south of Bamberg, the city of Bamberg. So make sure that you are in your safe place, or at least starting to think about it. No, you're not in that polygon yet, so your phones probably have not gone off, but just know that if this continues to track, it's going to be tracking northward. But the good news is we're not really seeing that tight correlation coefficient anymore. And honestly, this would be very difficult for me to even have to point out to you guys. I mean, I would say around Hughes, Clear Pond area at the moment, but it's really starting to broaden significantly. So I really do wonder if it had tightened up outside of our area and then kind of just picked up that debris, because we are still tracking debris lofted in the air, and that's how we can confirm that there is a tornado. If debris is being lofted in the air, that means a tornado has touched down and is picking up stuff from the ground. But this is not an impressive signature anymore. So that's some great news. Doesn't mean that it's not going to tighten back up, but good news that it's looking like it's starting to weaken in that rotation. But this is the first observed tornado that we've had. We've had 2 tornado warnings, but since this one did have that debris